Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make milk chocolate truffles, and this is what they look like. This is a bite-sized petit four that's just a mixture of chocolate and cream that's chilled, and then we form it into rounds and roll it in unsweetened cocoa powder. So good. And they're so easy to make. So essentially, really, this is chocolate and cream. It's a ganache. And the flavor of your truffle is really about your chocolate. What kind of chocolate you use, the quality. So, you want to use a chocolate that you really enjoy eating just out of hand. Now, I say milk chocolate truffle, but I'm actually mixing half dark chocolate, or either a semi-sweet or a bittersweet, and half milk. I like that kind of combination. So you will need 4 ounces, which is 120 grams of a dark chocolate. You could, like I said, you could use either a semi-sweet or a bittersweet chocolate. And a lot of times you just buy like a bar, and there's usually there's a percentage. So a semi-sweet is, I like, for today I'm using like a 55%. So, and of course bittersweet, it goes up to like 70. So anywhere in there, whatever you like, again. And finely chop your chocolate. And then milk chocolate, again, use a brand that you really like to just eat out of hand. And you will need 4 ounces again, 120 grams of milk chocolate, and finely chop that. And really, that is our chocolate. Just mix that together. And now, people make their ganache different ways. Some like to combine the cream with the chocolate and heat it over a double boiler. What I'm going to do is just heat my cream separately and then pour it over my chocolate. That's why you want your chocolate finely chopped. So I have a small saucepan. You will need a half a cup, 120 milliliters of heavy whipping cream, and that's cream with a 35 to 40% butterfat content. So just pour that into my saucepan. You could do this in the microwave, either way. And then I'm just adding a little butter, kind of for richness and flavor. 1 tablespoon, about 13 grams of butter. And I've just cut that into small pieces so it melts faster. So now what I'm going to do is just wipe that off. Just heat this up just until you start almost to a boil. See the bubbles starting to form around the edge? So, medium speed. You want to catch it before it starts to foam up. Okay, so we're starting to see bubbles around the edges. Okay, get that off. It's just about to foam up. And then I'm just going to pour it over our chopped chocolate. And that is it. Now, some people like to add, which you could. I'm just gonna. Now you can let this. You can just let this sit for a minute or two, and let that hot cream melt the chocolate. And at this point, if you wanted to, you could add some flavoring. Extracts, you could add, alcohol, there's brandy, rum, cognac, things like, I often add like maybe a tablespoon of Grand Marnier. Actually you could add a little bit of some kind of fruit sauce, like a raspberry sauce. I mean, really, what I like about chocolate truffles, is you really can kind of vary the flavor, and your chocolate makes what type of chocolate you use makes such a difference in the flavor. And so now I'm just going to gently stir. I don't want to get a lot of air into this mixture, so I'm just going to gently stir. And we want to make sure all the chocolate is melted. If once, you stirred this for a while and you found depending on if you didn't chop your chocolate finely enough and some of your chocolate wasn't melted, you could just pop this like either over a saucepan of simmering water or just in the microwave to heat it up, but be very careful. Heat the mixture up a bit to make sure all of your chocolate is melted. Otherwise, if it isn't, you'll get little, when you eat a truffle, you just want it creamy and smooth on the tongue. And if your chocolate wasn't all melted, you might get little chunks of chocolate, which really still tastes pretty good. So this is it for our mixture. Pretty easy. And now what we're going to do, once I make sure all that chocolate is melted, is we're just going to cover it with some plastic wrap and put it into the refrigerator to chill. So you want it nice and firm so we can form it into our rounds. And that usually at least a couple hours. Or you could do it the day before and just let it chill overnight and form your truffles the next day. So that's what I'm going to do. And when we come back, we will make our truffles. Okay, so now our truffle mixture has chilled. I actually let this chill overnight. And so as you can see, it's quite firm. So you can roll your truffles in all kinds of things. I'm just doing it like kind of the classic way, and what I'm doing, I just have a plate here and I'm using unsweetened cocoa powder and just sift that because it tends to have lumps. And you can use either, regular unsweetened or the Dutch process, whichever one. Or, that's what we're going to do, just the cocoa powder. But really, what you can do is you can roll them in chopped nuts, all different types of chopped nuts. You could use sprinkles, you could use coconut, or sometimes what's really cool if you're giving them as a gift, kind of have all different ones, or even if you're having people over for supper, so everybody can it's like a box of chocolates. They can just pick whatever they like. So to form your truffles, you can use like a small, whatever size. I mean, you can make your truffles big, small, whatever you want. I have just a pretty small ice cream scoop here, or really a lot of times I just use, a spoon, and then just take a little, as much as you want. And, some people like to make it look like the truffle, and so they don't like it too perfect. So you could do that, and then roll it. But you often see nowadays, take some here. A lot of people like to form them into nice rounds. So a little messy, but that's why you want it nice and cold, especially if you want to roll it into rounds. So you can do that. And cocoa powder. And then you can just put on a plate. You could get those little like party cups and put them in there, a nice box. Really, I think if you were having people over and you didn't have a lot of time, it's kind of a last minute thing. Truffles, just a nice plate of truffles, either just like this or, like I said, a variety. It's just like a little bite of heaven there. They're so good. Let's try one. You want to eat your truffles slowly, like just don't bite it and swallow it. You want to kind of like savor that texture. You use a good chocolate, the texture is just so good. And the flavor, I just think they're a perfect dessert any time of the day, or just as a little snack in the afternoon. And you can keep them in the fridge for a couple weeks. I usually make a batch and put them in the freezer because they really freeze well. So try them. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.